Hey guys, welcome to FightFlex with Fit to Fight Republic. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm outside today, so definitely let me know if you can't for some reason. Hopefully, let's see, turn on the comments. Yeah, let me know if you can't. Hey, Yancy, can you hear me okay? Awesome. Okay, just making sure. If it gets too loud, nature gets too loud, let me know, and I have headphones, but I think we'll be okay for this practice. Hey Ernest. I was saying I hope everyone had a great weekend, even though it seems like the weeks just are kind of rolling all together. Let's see. Awesome, good. So let's get started. This is gonna stay low to the ground, although most of them do. So let's start on our backs and just go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Awesome. And then just take everything really wide. So take in space in the floor, on the mat if you have one. You can even bring your arms out into like the star power position. Just allow your body to be heavy for the next few moments. And maybe you want to take a cleansing breath in through your nose and then open your mouth and let it go. Again, you could take another one of those, inhaling through your nose, exhaling, let it go. And then just start to maybe wiggle your toes or point and flex your feet or round through your ankles in both directions. Maybe you start to do the same with your wrist and your elbows. Just letting the ground support you as you kind of, I guess we've already been awake for a little while, but taking a break, waking our bodies back up. And then go ahead and bring your knees back into your chest, giving yourself a squeeze again. We're going to extend our legs towards well, in this case, the sky. Maybe it's the ceiling for you. And you can just place your hands behind your thighs, pressing your heels toward the sky. And then just breathe here for a moment, allowing the blood flow to naturally come back down from your feet and legs. You can look side to side if you like. Checking in to see if you're holding any stress in your face and your jaw, and if you are, just let that go. You can either come up from this position, or you can bring your knees back into your chest, still keeping your hands behind your thighs. You're just going to start to roll up to a seated position. Try not to kick anything out of the way. Glad to have you guys all here today. We're going to inhale our fingertips up to the sky, and then you're going to exhale, reaching either for your feet or for your calves. Maybe you keep a nice bend in your knees. That's always good. And then just breathe here for a few moments. And as we're here, you can start to, straighten out your legs if you want to, if that feels like something that is going to work for you today. If not, just keep them bent. Maybe you walk about a little bit further. Again, maybe not. Just seeing what your body needs. That's kind of the key. And then for this not next, but same series, you can bring your hands on the inside. Just kind of let your feet do whatever they want. And you're just going to allow your chin to kind of drop to your chest and relaxing into this pose. A really passive variation from this, from what we were just doing. Again, let your shoulders settle away from your ears. tension in the back of your neck, or it might even feel like straining. And that's okay, maybe from being on the computer or phones, just general stress. Sinuses and allergies always affect me in the back of my neck and head. And then more slowly than you'd like to, we're going to come up to a seated position. Shoulders are going to roll down your back. Chin and head are going to be the last thing to come forward. Awesome. And then just go ahead and cross your legs. You can roll over your knees or however you want to get here, and we'll come into our tabletop position. So from tabletop, just pressing into your mat, engaging your core here, pulling your belly button into your spine. Your toes can be tucked, or you can flatten out your feet, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then just slowly move through some cat and cows, and really take your time, like you're moving through honey or molasses. So make everything super slow, super juicy. One more time, really slow. And then you can start to move, adding in any kind of C curves, or maybe pull your bum towards your heels. Maybe you move forward into some circular motions. Again, anything that might feel good in your body. I'm just going to check in with everyone. Keep moving through your cat and cows. Nice. I just had to make sure we were having any audio or anything, any issues here. Awesome. Adding in, adding on. Checking in and seeing where your body's at today. Seeing if you're having sensations in new places or the same places. Coming back to this middle, our neutral spine here. We're just gonna come to our fingertips on our left hand, really pressing your fingertips into the mat, and then flattening out your palm, and we're moving on to the right side. So right side, tenting your fingers, pressing into the mat with your fingers, and then coming to a flat palm. We'll do that a couple more times on each side. Left side, and release. Right side, pressing your fingertips into the mat, and release. One more time. Release, and again on your right side. Awesome. We'll move on to our toes, some of our favorite toe stretches. So tuck your toes, walk your hands back, coming into this kneeling position here. You can even separate your toes a little bit if you'd like to, if that's helpful. And these do get better. Actually, your feet do start to elongate some, and but it just allows you to go a little deeper into the stretch. So just be patient. It's super uncomfortable. Use this as an opportunity to breathe, to use your breath in order to be in these uncomfortable spaces, so we can act that out in our real life. Just another moment here. Go ahead and release back into your tabletop. You can tap the tops of your feet out, or come into a opposite stretch, sitting back on your heels, bringing your fingertips behind you, and then just lifting your knees up. Release back down to the ground, coming back into your tabletop position. Awesome. Taking a breath here, keeping your core tight, bringing your left fingertips up toward the ceiling, and then just pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that left hand down. We're going to thread the needle all the way over to the right. Pay attention to what happens with your bum too as we're going into this stretch, because a lot of times we'll want to swing one way or the other. See if we can't keep it neutral. You can take your right hand and extend it, or even walk it over to the left so you're looking underneath your right armpit. Bring your right hand back, unwind. Left fingertips go to the sky, in this case, and then back down to the mat. Taking a moment, moving through a cat and cow here, or any other shape that speaks to you. And starting to put your weight on your left side, extending your right fingertips up to the sky, pausing for a moment, and then pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring those fingertips down, coming through the left side this time. Again, you can stay right here. You can extend that left hand out or walk it over to the right, looking underneath your left armpit. And breathe. Awesome. Walking your left hand back, allowing your right fingertips to move back up toward the sky, and then back down to the mat. Great. Again, really press in with your hands, and then move through whatever shape here, cat and cow, C curve. We're not done here, but we're gonna take a little bit of, give our knees a little bit of a break. So tuck your toes, lift your knees to hover off of the mat. You're still engaging your core, continuing to breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and push up to downward facing dog. Maybe here you start to paddle out your dog or lift him one heel and then the other. Watch your shoulders. Make sure they're not creeping up towards your ears. You want to relax them down your back. Even if that means that maybe you have a bend in your knee. It'd be better to have a bend in your knee than your shoulders to be way up here, your hips to be down. You want your hips up and your shoulders away from your ears. Same thing, we're just exploring shapes here, so maybe you take your feet a little wider, able to send your hips a little higher to the sky. Maybe not, maybe you keep them where they're at. Coming up to your toes, dropping your heels over to the right side. We're gonna come back up to our toes. Drop our heels over to the left side. And just notice what sensations or where they come up. Are you feeling it in your IT band? Are you feeling it in your hips? Where are you feeling it? Come back up to your toes. Start to release your heels to the floor, to the mat. Again, allow your knees to hover for just a moment and then release them back down to the mat. This time we're going to extend our right leg behind us and push through that hill and then to your toes a few times. Your line of sight should be a little bit in front of your hands. Then go ahead and lift that right leg, keeping everything in alignment so your hips are still, you don't want to be way down here or way up here. Bring that leg behind, your right leg behind your left for another side body stretch. And pay attention to what's happening in your upper body. So a lot of times we have a tendency to lean in one direction. See if you can't keep your core engaged and stay in the center between your hands here. Awesome. Right leg comes back up. We're going to move it over to the right side so you can stay on the bladed side of your foot, or you can plant your foot all the way on the ground here. Upper body should stay in the middle of your hands. Shoulders and wrists should be stacked. You can really press into your foot to create some more tension here. Side plank. So keeping your left hand rooted on the ground, your left knee can either stay like it is, or you may want to kickstand just for some extra balance here. So we're going to take our right leg and sweep it all the way around behind that left leg. So your knee can stay here, or you can kickstand it out as we bring those right fingertips to the sky. And breathe. You want a shoulder opener, open through your chest. Drop your right hand down behind your back and open up your chest. You want a little bit more of a challenge, you can lift that top leg, engaging through your core, staying steady, staying strong here for 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly and with control, bringing everything back down to the mat, into that tabletop position. You can sit back on your heels for just a moment if you'd like to work through your wrist a bit. Figure eights or just the wave, I guess, I don't know. And then come back into that tabletop position so we can move on to the other side. So this time we're extending our left leg behind us, pushing through your heel and then to your toes. Line of sight is forward or in between your hands. Nice. Again, engaging your leg, engaging your core and your glutes. You want to make sure you're not way out here or down here. And then drop that left leg behind your right. This time a side body stretch on your left side. Check in, notice if you're starting to move in one direction or the other, and see if you can't pull everything back into the main line, back into that center line. Picking up your left leg, moving it over to the outside, staying onto the bladed side of your foot, or you can plant your foot down, just depending on where you're at in your practice today. Again, make sure you're steady in between your center point here. Adding some resistance by really pushing into the ground with your leg. Notice if you started to clench your jaw or furrow your brow, and see if you can't relax that a little bit. Just like we did on the other side, we're going to swing our left leg back. This right leg can stay here, or you can kickstand for balance. Put your weight into your right hand, open your left fingertips to the sky. And one side is probably going to be a little bit more balanced or a little easier than the other, and that's okay. As you're here, you can take your left fingertips, drop them back behind, opening up through your chest. Maybe those fingertips come back to the sky. Maybe you lift your leg, your left leg, finding balance here. And then slowly and with control, coming back down to the mat, finding that tabletop position. Awesome. This time, turning our fingers back to face our knees for a wrist stretch here. You may want to add in a tiny bit of movement, or this may be enough. Maybe you move side to side, maybe some small circles. Returning your hands to their original position. Go ahead and tuck your toes, push your hips back and up to the sky for downward facing dog. Again, every time you come into this, it seems like it's not a very complicated pose, but it can be, it is. Shoulders away from your ears. You're turning your shoulder blades out. You can fan your fingers out to change the rotation of your shoulders and take a little bit of pressure off of your wrist here. Take a deep bend in your knees, look forward, and then you're just gonna walk your feet all the way up to the top of the mat, finding a forward fold. So maybe that means you grab your elbows, maybe you keep your hands on the floor, maybe you're on your shins, maybe you have a really deep bend in your knees. All great options. Releasing your head, yes and no. You're going to inhale to a halfway lift, exhale, fold, and then just slowly roll up to standing. Awesome. I'm cut off. It's okay. It looked cut off on mine, but might not be on yours. Inhale, fingertips to ceiling. Exhale, take your left wrist in your right hand, and we're going to side bend over to the right. Come back to center. Exhale, arms come down by your side. Roll your shoulders back and forward. Inhale, fingertips to ceiling. This time, right wrist in left hand. Feel like it's Monday. I want to say everything the wrong way. I guess every day could be Monday these days. Come back to center. Release your hands. Again, rolling your shoulders forward and backwards. Maybe you shake everything out or sway. Awesome. We'll come back to the top of the mat. Inhaling, fingertips to ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. You're going to step your left foot back, dropping that left knee down to the mat. Right hand's on the outside of that right foot. Pausing here for just a moment. Inhale, bring your fingertips and engage your core here. Pull your fingertips off the mat, let them hover, and then release back down. This time, pull your fingertips off the mat, let them hover, and then we're going to come all the way up, rolling your shoulders down your back. Extend your hands behind you. So if you can't quite touch your hands, that's okay. If you can, interlace your fingers away from you if it's super easy. See if you can't get your palms together. If it's not, that's okay. Palms can just face each other. You're still activating through your shoulders. You're still engaging through your core here. Stacking your ankle and your knee. Or if you have a towel close by, you could always use that as well. Really open up your chest to the front, or to the, I'm not in a room, I'm outside, in case I forgot. Towards the front of the mat. Awesome. And then release. And then we're just gonna come into a revert or a twist to the right side. Come back to center, twist to your left side. Come back to center. Hands go on the inside of your right foot this time. You can stay here. If you want to, you can engage that left leg by coming to your toes, and you can start to come down to your forearms here. You can always keep that leg right here. You find your place. We'll be here for a few rounds of breath. You have the knee lifted, go ahead and drop the knee. Come back up to your hands. And then point that left toe to the ceiling or to the sky. I don't know where I'm at. I'm here, where I'm supposed to be. If you have the room, if you want to reach back with your right hand for that left foot, whew, always a very deep stretch. And then slowly release that leg. Right hand goes on the outside of your right foot. Tuck your left toe, step your right foot back to a high plank. You can come to your knees if you like to. We're gonna roll to our toes and through our heels, really keeping your belly button pulled to your spine. And then slower, or more slowly than you like, you're gonna lower all the way down to your belly. You can rock your hips from side to side. We're gonna come into Sphinx pose. Forearms, hands flat on the floor. And we're just gonna move through some dynamic movements. So dropping your chin and your chest into this passive variation. And then lifting everything up, opening up through your chest, looking up towards the sky. We'll do that a few more times. If you notice any impingement in your low back, really push your pelvis into the floor by pulling your belly button into your spine. Exhaling, coming down, dropping your chin to your chest. Inhaling, opening everything up. One more time, exhale. And inhale. If you want to come up a little bit further, if you have your back is healthy, come up to your hands. Lower all the way down. Hands come underneath shoulders, pushing up through your tabletop, up through your plank. And then we're just going to step our left foot forward. Right knee comes down to the mat. Left hand's on the outside of your left foot this time. Engaging, pulling your belly button to your spine. Pulling your fingertips off the mat. Covering your fingertips. And then release. Awesome. Again, pulling your fingertips off the mat. This time we'll come all the way up. Again, we're going to bring our hands behind us, opening up our chest. You can interlace your fingers, or again, grab that towel, or just keep your hands palms facing one another. Keeping your core tight, your legs are engaged. Awesome, go ahead and release. Inhale, fingertips to the sky. Exhale, we're going to open up to the left first this time. And notice what your legs want to do. Like my leg wants to go out here, I'm not going to let it. I'm going to bring it back in. Keep everything in alignment. Hands come back to the sky, opening up to the other side. See, it still wants to do it. It wants to go this way. I'm not going to let it. Keep it all in alignment. Or try to. Hands come back up. This time they come onto the inside of your left foot, standing here, or tucking your right toes, coming off that knee, and then coming onto your forearms if that's in your practice. If not, that's okay. You can always keep that knee down. There's always options. That knee is lifted. Go ahead and drop it down to the mat. Come back up to your hands. Bring that left hand on the outside of your right or left foot, and pull and point your right toe to the ceiling, to the sky. Maybe you reach back with your left foot. You can start to, if that's already really tight, great. If you have more room, you can start to work that foot closer to your bum. Maybe next class. It's really tight today for me. Go ahead and release your foot, release your leg. Tuck your toes on that right side. Pull your left knee into your chest, step back for high plank. So you have the option here of coming back down to your knees and working on the side plank variation with your knee on the ground. Or you can challenge yourself a little bit, coming into your high plank. Bring your right hand in the center of your mat. Rotate onto the bladed side of your right foot, engaging your core, bringing your left fingertips to the ceiling or to the sky. Again, maybe you lift that leg. Maybe next time, slow and with control, coming back through that high plank and moving on to the other side. Left palm comes in the center, coming onto the bladed side of your left foot. Right fingertips come to the sky. Maybe you lift that right foot. Dropping your right foot, coming back down to your mat. Go ahead and bring your knees wide as your mat, sitting back for child's pose. Whew. Maybe take a cleansing breath. Extending your fingers long and wide. Or if you want to come into a shoulder tricep stretch, bringing your hands above your head or to the backs of your shoulders. All right, so we have one more hip opener and then a few closing poses. So we're going to come into frog. If you have a mat, you can fold it over 2 times. I'm trying to see, I'll just do it over here. If you are, you have bad hips or knees, then you can come to a wall It's never pretty getting up here, but come to a wall. You're gonna get as close to it as you can. Rotate your legs up the wall. Feet go out, knees and ankles are in alignment. And that's where you're gonna stay. Now I have all the vegetation on me. If you know the traditional, or if your hips and knees are okay, you can fold your mat over if you'd like. I'm gonna show you this way first. Same thing, knees out, ankles, knees, toes out. And you can stay on your hands, or you can start to work down to your forearms. What you do not want to do is this. So a lot of people want to go straight to their forearms because it seems like it's easier, and they'll start leaning forward and you're not in your hips anymore. So you want to stay in your hips. It's an uncomfortable pose. So from the front, same thing, out, out. Maybe you stay up on your hands here. Maybe you come down here. But if you notice that you're starting to lean forward and you're not feeling it in your hips, then you need to adjust. Take your knees wider if you need to. It sucks. This is one of those poses that are pretty uncomfortable, but it gives you an opportunity to focus on your breath, to focus on like what comes up in your thoughts. You know, sometimes this stuff makes me laugh. Sometimes I get really irritable and cranky and want to cuss. That's all right. It's all pretty normal. It's all normal. And then just breathe. Notice the sensations. Again, you get to choose how you perceive the sensation. Now, I'm not talking about pain. If you're in like dire pain, then don't do it. But if it's just uncomfortable and annoying, then you get to choose. Does it get to be annoying because or uncomfortable and you choose growth? Or is it, you know, you're gonna quit? I encourage you not to quit. We're all great winners, right? But it's what we do when we're faced with adversity that really matters. How we show up. There's not a good way to get out of this. So start to work your way back up to your hands. You can just sit back. I've already done this once today, so yeah. Maybe extend your legs out, really whatever position is gonna bring you some relief. You can take your feet wide and windshield wiper your legs from side to side. You can come back into a forward fold if you like. Active or passive. Wherever you're at, we'll meet back in a seated position. I think we can all use this again today. So just start with 2 fingers, and you're just gonna find any tension in your jaw. We're gonna work through some neck stuff too, but 2 fingers or your thumb and your whatever. Find 2 fingers. You guys are smart. I can't make words, but you know what I'm trying to say. And then just notice where you find tension. You can also work a little bit behind your ear. I know I've said this a few times too, but there's this helps release oxytocin, which is that feel-good chemical in our bodies. We all can use a little bit more of that, right? Even in non-pandemic times, who doesn't want that? And then just shake through your hands, roll through your shoulders, whatever that looks like for you today. And you'll come back to the center, finding your posture. You can make a W, shoulders, hips in alignment. Resting your hands on your knees. And then just drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And breathe. You'll start to make some tiny movements, maybe dropping your chin towards your chest just a little bit. extend that right hand down. We're gonna bring that left arm over your ear towards the opposite side. And then exhaling, bringing your left hand down, right hand over. Just a couple more times like this. Right hand down, left arm over, left hand down, right arm over. Awesome. Come back to the center. Left arm goes to the sky. And we're going to exhale, coming into a twist. I know that's getting kind of loud. We're almost done. So we'll move on to the opposite side. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. If you can't, then just follow me. Left ear, left shoulder, hands on your knees. And take your chin towards your chest and up. Bring the left fingertips to the mat here. Bring that right arm over to the other side. Right fingertips come down to the mat. Left arm over. Left arm down. Right arm. Pause here. Awesome. Come back to the center. Right arm goes to the sky. And then exhale into a twist. Awesome. Come back to center. Again, shake everything out. Thank you guys for showing up today. I will see you on Thursday, and I look forward to it. I don't really know what we're going to do yet, but hopefully it'll be awesome. Have a great day, and I look forward to Thursday. Thanks, guys.